All right, we are live. Let me refresh the group, make sure we are in there and everything is rocking and rolling as it should. Welcome, everybody. As you're tuning in, definitely you can post in the chat, say hello. Don't be shy. Yep, we are in there, and I'm sure we have sound. I've muted the tab, so I'm not going to worry about it. If you can't hear us, let us know. But so I got with me, as always, Mr. Jay Woolwine, David Thomas. I think all y'all in this group, y'all know us. So today we want to talk to you about a topic that everybody talks about, right? It's retirement. And it's one of those things that where, people say all the time that they want to retire. I'm working towards this so I can retire. Everybody wants to, quote unquote, retire, right? That's the destination. And I guess our question that we want to address today is truly to dive into that and dissect what you're truly wanting to do and the repercussions to that. But retire and do what? Right? Retire and do what? Like sit around and talk about the good old days, go fishing all the time, sit around your house and get lethargic and overweight. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, retire and do what? So, Mr. J.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. So yeah, I mean, everybody has different idea of what their retirement is going to be like, So it's like progression equals happiness, right? Continuing to do more, and it's not just like, I mean, maybe your goal is to be a greeter at Walmart, but that doesn't have to be what your retirement is because your Social Security isn't enough or for whatever reason. But just continuing to progress and learn new things and always be a student and just continue to grow. I think instead of just waiting to get to a destination, it's like the success. That analogy of success, it's the journey, it's not the destination. It's the same thing for retirement. It shouldn't be a destination where you get there and everything just ends.
Yep, absolutely. And, and when you really think about it, it's really not even scriptural, right? It's like, if you look at the Bible, I mean, look at the figures in the Bible. Like, does it ever talk about retirement? No, like Adam, he worked till he was in the 900s. Right. He had Abraham working till he was in the hundreds, and back then they lived that long. But you get all these people. I mean, even if you think about the current day, Einstein worked until he died. Thomas Edison, you didn't ever hear about him retiring. You got Steve Jobs, right? Warren Buffett, how old is he? Like 90? Billionaire, still working, right? You had Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, all of these, tycoons in industry. They have all the money they could ever. I mean, if they tried to spend all of their money that they could right now, they probably wouldn't be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? But they're still working. They're still taking over companies. Facebook is now changing their name and taking on a new, the cryptocurrency and all this stuff, right? They're always evolving, always progressing, always moving towards a new goal. And that's what progress is. They're always moving towards something better, something progressive.
My mother-in-law moved in with us recently, and when she retired, she was a teacher, and she was a volunteer police officer. Like they ride around those little, what do they call them, like community patrol or something like that.
Yeah, right.
She worked with horses for people with disabilities. It's called Reins, and she did all these activities to fill her day, and it gave a sense of purpose, right? Something to do. And then when that stopped, it leads to being depressed. And what, for a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people, you're home by yourself when you get older, right? And you're retired. So it can lead to depression because you're not active. And now she lives with us. I take her to work out with a young CrossFit coach and super nice lady. And she says, when you rest, you rust. And it's true, not just not just your body, right, which is what she's talking about, but everything, right? It's just your mental attitude and your acuity for everything. You know, if you're not progressing, you're degressing.
Degressing.
Degressing, I'm not sure. I think you get the point though. Like you're either moving forward or you're moving backward, right? There's very little time spent, just plateauing, which is not where you want to be anyway. So
it's funny. I used to say something in the restaurant when I owned the restaurant. Somebody would be like, well, you didn't, you can give away this. My dad, he was the king of like giving away free food to people. And he was like, well, you're not losing any money on it. And I was like, Dad, if you're not making money, you're losing money. That's what I told him. It's the same thing. If you're not progressing, you're degressing, right? As a perfect example of actually, speaking of my dad, he had a business that he actually grew, a very large, successful business back in the day. I think he started it when I was like 6, something like that. But anyways, so it really stuck in my mind. There was an older gentleman. My dad was a pastor as well, and to support 7 kids, he needed another job. So he started a business, and this lady called him who went to our church. Her husband had just retired. He had worked at AT&T, I think, for the 40 years or whatever. And and she said, he's going crazy. Like he's got no purpose. You've got to give him something to do. I don't care if you just take him with you when you go out and work. Just he needs purpose. Like he has no purpose. And so my dad hired him, and actually, ended up being a very valuable employee. He's actually passed away, and so is his wife now. But I remember he came up to my dad. He worked for my dad for about 10 years. And he came up to my dad and he said, I just want to thank you, because if you had not hired me, he said, I would have died probably 10 years ago. He said, because I just had no purpose. He said, I felt like I was just worthless. And not every, we know some people have health issues and they need to retire and things. And it doesn't mean you can't retire from your career, but you have to remember, keep moving towards something, have a purpose. That's why so many people, they retire and then they start like a little business or something, right? As long as you're moving and progressing, that's going to keep you active, keep you vibrant, keep you healthy, so, but yeah, people ask this all the time, like with us, and they'll be like, so what do you do for a living? We trade, we also coach other people, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, is that what you're going to do till you retire? And I'm like, well, no. I don't have to plan on retiring. I'm never going to retire. Right. You know what I'm going to do? Sit on my rocker and rock? I can do that at night. I don't need to do it full time. You know what I'm saying?
And if you find something you love, you want to continue doing it, Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, most people think of the, what we call the 40-40-40 plan, which is, you work for 40 years, you retire for 40% of your income of what probably wasn't enough to start with. I think I missed one of the 40.
Yeah, 40 hours a week.
40 hours a week for 40 years to retire on 40% of your income, which probably wasn't enough to start with anyway. Yeah. There's just our government put that in place. There's no reason, like David said with the scriptural references, I think Noah worked till he was 190 or something. There's just no reason that has to be the end, because the government, that's when they are going to start supporting you,
You're going to listen to them?
Yeah, right. You don't have to look very far. Look around and see what that's gotten everybody, right? So,
yeah.
Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't interrupt you. But yeah, it's just really, this is kind of what we're going to leave you with is you really need to replace your verbiage, replace the word retirement, replace that with, purpose, fulfillment, contribution, right? So when somebody says you're going to retire, I'd be like, no, I'm going to continue to be purposeful. I'm going to continue to give my contribution. I'm going to continue to be fulfilled and to, have a purpose, have a destiny, always moving towards that final destination, which will be heaven, right? Hopefully for you. And so it's you don't want to retire. We don't retire, right? Let's get that out of your head. We continue to give contribution. We continue to give purpose. We continue to be fulfilled by doing what we're put on this earth to do. So anything to add to that, Mr. J, before we close her up?
Nope. Good stuff.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate everybody watching, and we will see y'all very soon. Y'all take care.
See you guys.
Bye.